When people say that, I can't believe you think you can do better than the engineers. If you've said that, pull yourself back and understand you're an idiot. Yes, I can make this saw run better than it ran from the factory. Yes, I can make this saw last longer than it lasted from factory. Absolutely, I can make it better. It's called modifications, man. Figure out something, get a clue. It runs cooler, it's getting more fuel, producing more power. Yeah, I can do it better than the engineers because the engineers have to play by rules. I don't. 590, well, actually, it's fucking hell. I can't. Okay, gang, so we're back with the saga of how to get this saw to tune as well as possible. No changes. We're still running the last fuel that I had in it from the previous test where I was testing all the different fuels. What we have is the VP 50-to-1 premix 97 octane fuel. And we found that it was no different than anything else. It still didn't tune right. So octane is a non-issue with this saw right here. Or really pretty much any saw. So, but I'm still using it because that's what still was in the tank and we got the exact same tune from last time. All I'm gonna do is run it in the wood, see if it's tuned up better because I have a new spark plug in there. It is a CJ8 spark plug instead of the recommended BPM 7.8. I don't know what's actually in it. Maybe I'll put it in the video here. But yeah, this is a Champion CJ8, which is a cooler plug. It's also a little bit shorter, so it's gonna eat up some of the compression. Not a big deal, but we're gonna see how it runs and then we'll do a speed test, see if it made any difference. And here you go. Okay, same story, a different day. It's just constantly what I think's happening is the coil is dirtying it up to get it to not rev so high. From the beginning, I thought it was the coil. Just want to make that clear. But we gotta eliminate. Process of elimination. This is troubleshooting. This is how we do it, guys. And I'm running a YouTube channel. I'm trying to teach you. Okay, so we've went through all of the fuel system. That's not the problem. Now we're working on hardware. We did the spark plug, right? For a cooler spark plug. Clearly that's not the problem. But we'll go ahead and we'll do a test for a speed cut just so that we can compare and see what that spark plug is doing, if it's worth it to run a cooler plug. Okay, so now, might as well come with me, right here. All right, so we went back to the original spark plug and we installed a CS 590 coil. That's it. Okay, there at first it was doing it more. But now that it's warmed up, I kind of think it's doing it less. Without question, it's doing it less. It's doing it less. Now, I may have less power. I may have less RPMs. But it feels better. Yeah, it's doing it less. So let's do a speed test and see how many RPMs I lost, you know what I mean? Because it's definitely going to run slower with this configuration, I think. Okay, now for the final coup de grace. Okay, so I'm back at the shop. I've got the keyway out. This is it right here. And we are going to replace it with this Gearhead Performance key. Now this way right here, the way it works, you're going to put it in like that if the keyway is at the top. All right, if we point the keyway up to the top, then we want this piece right here going forward. That right there, I've used these keyways in the past. They work very, very well. It is a very worthwhile purchase. I think you can get them for about 20, 25 bucks, something like that. I think it's $22. Gearhead Performance, I think he sells them directly on eBay, or at least he used to. But I got this one from Saw Salvage at the Dukes. And you can just type in Echo 590 key and you'll come up with it. But if you want the part number, that's it. So I'm going to go ahead and install this back in and go out and do a test then. See if it still is pretty clean and see what the time cuts are. And then see if I can tune on it a little bit with the carburetor to clean it up even more. But yeah, so far testing is going good. And once it got warmed up, that 590 coil felt like it ran cleaner. It also did feel like it lost a little bit of power. But okay, gang, this is it. This is for all the marbles. So what we have, we went back to the stock spark plug, and we have a 590 coil and a Gearhead Performance advanced key. So this should give me the same timing that I had with the 620, but the less finicky coil of the 590. Okay? So let's see if it tunes up good, and then we'll see if it's as fast. Here we go. Oh, and it cooled off, so yeah, it's gonna have to warm back up. can tune it out. As it is, that's awful. That's the worst so far. We're going to give it more fuel. Try and give it less fuel. Give it a little less fuel. That seemed to work. That seemed all right. It's cool. It ain't running overly hot. Shit, yeah, there we go. I don't feel like I've lost any power. Okay, was it worth it? To me, yes. I couldn't stand how finicky it was before. I don't know what the speed test is going to tell me, but I bet you they're just neck and neck. Okay, now for the final. You know, it does not feel like I lost any power whatsoever. But, you know, maybe I did just a second or something. Personally, I don't care. I wanted it to run better. I wanted it to be easier to tune and less finicky. And I gotta say, man, yeah, I think mission accomplished. And what I have recently learned is if I want to believe it, then I'll make it true, you know? And I felt like this was probably going to work because that 620 coil on a stock saw, it ain't a big deal at all. But for this thing, it's wanting to get up there close to, you know, it's wanting to run at 11,000 RPMs or better in the cut. Maybe 10.5 in the cut, I don't know. But it seemed like that 620 coil, even though it had a higher rev limit, it didn't work because that final advanced curve is like a dirty curve. Something's wrong. I don't like it. I don't like it. And it does funky things. You can see it on the dyno. It just looks garbled and bullshit on the dyno, and people struggle with it over and over and over again. Whereas the 590, okay, yeah, you can't free rev it as high, but in the cut, you don't have an extra advance that does weird, funky things. I like it. I'm glad that I did it. Now that saw is more enjoyable to use. Plain and simple. And seemed like if I wanted it even more user friendly, just keep the timing of the actual 590 coil. But I like it like this. This is what I want. This right here. This is it. So, did I fix the tuning woes of a ported Echo 620? No. But did I make them better and easier to deal with? I think I did. So, and for that, you are welcome. It came to my attention that there's at least one old dude out there that watches my channel, and he's like, you ever watch that Empire guy? That Empire guy? Yeah, watch that Empire guy. He just can't leave nothing alone. He just can't leave it alone. Can't leave nothing. You're right, I can't. I'm always trying to make something better. And there is a saying that gets passed around by stupid people all the time. And that saying is, I can't believe that you're so arrogant to think that you could do a better job than the engineers at Echo or at Steel or at Husqvarna, whatever. And I'm like, I don't think that I can do a better job, really. What I think is that the engineers have their hands tied behind their backs and they're not allowed to make an engine perform the way that they could, right? When people say that, I can't believe you think you can do better than the engineers. If you've said that, pull yourself back and understand you're an idiot, all right? Just straight up. I'm sick of hearing it. Yes, I can make this saw run better than it ran from the factory. Yes, I can make this saw last longer than it lasted from factory. All right? Absolutely, I can make it better. It's called modifications, man. Figure out something, get a clue. All right? This saw right here in this condition will last longer than it would have stock. It runs cooler, it's getting more fuel, producing more power, but not so much that it's going to be critical and cause a problem. But the big thing is it's going to run cooler than it runs stock by a long shot. Yeah, I can do it better than the engineers because the engineers have to play by rules. I don't.